Today is April 11th, 2019, and it's funny how the universe works. I've been thinking about the story I wanted to tell that led to some transformation for me, and it's interesting that today is the day that I found the strength to do it. 34 years ago tonight, I was raped. It was April 11th, 1985. I was 14 years old. And I've told a handful of people in my life this story. But today I feel like it's time for me to really release it once and for all. After the rape, I felt a ton of shame. Shame that I had agreed to go home with him from a party. So somehow I told myself that I had allowed this to happen. Shame that I had left my 11-year-old sister at home alone when I was supposed to be watching her. Shame that I didn't tell my mom the next day when I saw her, because she was the one person in my life that could really hold me and could have really helped me through this, and I just didn't feel like I could do that to her. I didn't know where it was going to go from there, and I just felt like it was easier to just push it down and act like it didn't happen and move on. And after that, I became really angry, bitter, apathetic. My mom chalked it up to the fact that she and my dad had just separated and he had moved out. So it was easy for me to go along with that story and kind of accept the fact that that was maybe why I was having all those reactions. So about 5 years later, I was 18 or 19, and I was in a bar with my boyfriend, and who did know about the rape and had known his name. And I saw him, the guy who attacked me, across the dance floor, and he waved at me as though we were friendly, and he tried to get my attention. And I froze. And I knew I needed to get out of there, so we got our stuff and left. And he followed us out to the parking lot and kept calling after me. And he was so confused as to why I wasn't responding and why I was walking away. And I'm so grateful I had this moment, because I know that so many victims never have the opportunity to face their rapist. And I turned around and I said, "You raped me that night. You were 19. I was 14. Shame on you." I was screaming this in the parking lot. And he just looked at me with this realization. And I don't think it had ever hit him that that's what that really was. So that was cathartic, obviously, and that was probably the first step to really healing. The first day I really got to kind of let go of some of that anger that had been building up. So 10 years later, after that, I'd gone to college and gotten a job and was having lunch with my mom one day. And she was reminiscing about how I'd been when I was a teenager and how hard it was for her to see how angry and withdrawn I had gotten after their separation. And I could tell that she'd been holding on to so much guilt around having been a part of why I was so broken. And I told her that day about the rape. And I'll just never forget how surprised and sad and I guess disappointed that she hadn't known all those years, because she'd always been someone that had given me a safe space to tell her anything, and I just couldn't tell her this, and she took that on her own, and I was able to explain that it wasn't her, and it felt so great to tell her and to release some more of the sadness and shame. And I really felt like at that point I was going to be okay, right? It was so long ago, and I'd moved on, and I was an adult now, and it definitely affected intimate relationships for a very long time. My ability to trust, my ability to be in the moment. And I decided that I needed some therapy around this. I'd been going to therapy, but not specifically for this. So I did a few sessions of a therapy called EMDR, and I had to go back into that night and kind of relive it as a now 29-year-old woman. And it was pretty miraculous what happened. I was able to go back into my body a little bit and acknowledge that I had said no a lot, and that I didn't just let this happen to me. And there was also a level of understanding that I had for him. And it was probably as close to forgiveness as I'll ever get. But just an understanding and an empathy that I was able to somehow get to. So that was a long time ago as well, and that was another huge moment in my healing. Being able to say it out loud to someone who could kind of, on a more therapeutic level, walk me through it. And today, I think, is maybe the final moment of that healing. Because every year on April 11th, I mourn this day. And I mourn having lost an innocence in a childhood that I could have had. And I spend this day most years, every year, feeling really sad and resentful. And today, I feel like I'm done with that. I know that who I am today would not be who I am today without everything that's happened to me in my life, including the night of April 11th, 1985. And I think that I am a more compassionate and empathetic and understanding and sensitive person today because that happened. And I have a real passion for hearing people's stories and helping them kind of get through some of the shame that comes from pushing things down and not going through the process. So I feel so much lighter in my body right now. And I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to maybe have other people understand that no matter what's happened to you, whatever shame or regret that you might have about how you handled it or how you didn't handle it, it's okay. And we're all just trying to get through this crazy life. And that moving forward on April 11th in the future, I'm going to celebrate this moment right now because I am a good person and I know that, and I have a wonderful life that I'm very grateful for, and I wouldn't change a thing. Thanks for listening.